Hello again, welcome back. We are here to read another Kindle sample. I'm trying to get that pile down, and that pile keeps getting bigger, and I think maybe Sisyphus and I need to have a talk. That's it, that's all. This week, our sample is this one. It is The City of Brass by Shannon Chakraborty. Now, you may recognize that name. We've done one of her books here before. We did The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi, or at least one of her Kindle samples before. And I really liked that one. I really enjoyed that particular sample, with this sort of semi-mythical pirate woman who's telling her story about her wild life on the seas and her grand adventures. And I really liked that sample. So when I got a chance to read another one of her sample of another one of her books, I thought that was very exciting and good fun because I liked the first one. So the cover of this, The City of Brass, we've got, it's very intricate. So once again, I can kind of guess that we're getting something sort of in that Middle Eastern Islamic tradition that we got from Amina al-Sarafi. It has that beautiful, beautiful kind of mosaic work that you might see on a mosque somewhere, and a big old door. A big old door. And then sort of in the silhouetted against the big old door is what looks like a mosque of some sort. And most importantly, at the top says, "Be careful what you wish for," which frankly is the tagline of most literature in a lot of ways. You know, characters want something and then they realize that what they wanted, or what they got at least, wasn't quite what they wished for anyway. So I can imagine that's what we're in for with this. So why don't I read the sample and then I'll get back to you and we'll see how it is. All right? Stick around. All right, that was good. I like that sample. Kind of as I expected with having read Amina al-Sarafi. The narrative voice sounded very familiar. I think I'm starting to pick up on Ms. Chakraborty's style. She has a first-person female narrator who is very certain and sure of herself, maybe not really fitting in with the people around her in a certain ways. And of course, she's going to get into all sorts of wacky adventures. But before we get to that, the book starts with a map. And we know I love a map. So, but this map is interesting, right? I'm not sure if you can see this, what with the backlit Kindle and all, but all of the land masses here look like the land masses we might expect. You see the Arabian Peninsula, we see the northeast corner of Africa, the Indian Peninsula, we see all that stuff that we'd expect to see, Mediterranean and all that. But they all have different names. There's like Hierapolis and Devastana and Tukharistan and Angazira and all. So my first thought when I saw this was, okay, this is a book that's going to take place maybe in an alternate Earth, right? Where the continents are the same shape, but the countries and the cities have all had different names because history has gone a different way than we might expect. But no, that's not what happened, because the book references Napoleon and France and Egypt and Cairo and all of these things that happen, and you start to get the sense that this is taking place kind of in the 18th, 19th century. We've got Egypt more or less under French rule. We've got a lot of kind of new international and intercultural mingling that's changing things. It's upsetting some of the old order and stuff of that nature. So it seems to be, at least at the beginning, happening in our world. So I'm not quite sure what's up with the map, but I have a theory that maybe I'll get back to as we go. But our narrator, a woman named Nahri, she is ostensibly Egyptian. She is a very good healer. She knows many languages, and she kind of works in that sort of gray market zone in Cairo, right? People come to her as a fortune teller, as a healer, and one of her particular skills is that she can sense illness in somebody. So someone comes and she says, "Oh, I have these various aches or these various ailments," and she knows what's wrong, and she can help them find help. And when she's feeling benevolent, that's exactly what she will do. However, she does also seem to dabble a little bit in the art of the con job. There's one point at the very beginning where she's talking to a wealthy man who is saying, "Oh, how do I stop being jealous and how do I get envy out of my life?" And so she gives him an extremely elaborate set of rituals, which will, by coincidence, require him to be out of his house for a long time. So she convinces him to be able to do that, and the implication is that she will be able to either herself go and rob his house or to send somebody to rob his house, and then she'll take a cut of it. So she is, helpful where she needs to be, but she has no problem scamming rich people, which, hey, woman after my own heart. But that's kind of who she is, and that's where we start, right? And we start meeting her. She's helping some people out. We meet Jakub, the apothecary, who is sort of one of her local neighbors, who is also very sort of kind of in on what she does, and they help each other out. They're a good partners in terms of what they do. But it starts and it sets that up, and then it gets us to a ceremony that she officiates. It's called a czar ceremony. It's meant to heal and exorcise women, to get kind of demons and evil spirits out of them. And usually she does it as sort of a show, right? She goes out, she goes, oh no, spirits out, and they pay her money and everything works out. But this time it's real. This time it's real. There's a thing in this girl that she's trying to clean out. This girl, Basima, she is possessed, and she accidentally finds herself in conflict with a real spirit, which becomes sort of after her. And as part of the ritual, she summons a spirit from the other world. She summons a deva, or I believe not a jinn, not a genie. It's very very clear about that. But summons Nahid, a deva of some sort, to come to her, and he saves her from being chased by Ifrit, who wants to kill her, who is possessing this girl, and they end up getting pulled to another world, which I assume is the world that this map depicts. And she now finds herself in another world. She needs a way to get home, and she's also apparently being hunted by evil otherworldly entities. So this woman who made her living, conning other people out of their money and occasionally helping others, now is in a fight for her life, or a run for her life. She also doesn't know much about her own origins, like where she comes from, her family comes from, and I expect that's going to be elaborated upon further as the book goes. So yeah, it's a really good sample. It's got some adventure, it's got some character building, it's got some a little bit of tension. And when we leave off not really knowing what's going to happen with Nahri. And that's great. That's what we want from a Kindle sample, right? So what do I think is probably going to happen further on? I think that we are going to see an elaboration of this society of spirits, these that are inspired from these kind of Middle Eastern myths and legends that have often been in a lot of European authors, have often been kind of cartoonified or used poorly. And I have a feeling that Ms. Chakraborty is going to try to reveal maybe some of the truths or realities of these myths and stories that we don't really get to see very often, right? Genies have been turned into a puffy blue Robin Williams, and I think there's a lot more to it than that. Those old ancient stories have a lot to offer us that I think I'll be glad to see. So, am I going to read this book? Yeah, I think I'm going to read this book. I like this. Like I said, I like Ms. Chakraborty's style. I like the characters that she chooses to put to the foreground of the story. Both Amina al-Sarafi and Nahri, they're both, again, they are women who exist in a world that is, as in many places, is dominated usually by the wealthy and by men and by wealthy men. And they make their way in the world the way that they best can. And I find that interesting. And I like that. So, I'll check it out. Sounds really good. And I might have a new favorite author. This is apparently the first book in the Davayabad trilogy. So I do not know if the other two books have been written, but if they have been, then I would be happy to check them out. And if you have read this book or that trilogy or any other of Ms. Chakraborty's works, please chime in the comments. I would love to hear more from you about what your thoughts are, what you liked. Was my prediction any good? Probably. Maybe not. Who knows? Just subscribe, comment, like, send me a nice card, commission a song. Maybe fan art is always nice. I don't know. Whatever you like. But thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, as always. And I guess I'll see you here for the next sample. All right? Take care.